All right, we are live on Monday, June 24th, 2024. So thank you so much for joining this evening. I'm sorry for getting a few minutes of a late start, but we are here. As is customary, we're going to take a few minutes to talk about a winning strategy that I'd like to share with you. And actually, this evening, we have two of them. All right. So the first one I want to share with you is I think that it's important for us to begin to conceptualize what is it that we need to do when we find ourselves in a positive or a challenging situation. And I believe that what we need to do is we need to grab it and take hold of it. And I'm going to use the analogy of hugging it. And as we grab it, that we have it in our grasp with a sense of humility, a sense of being upbuilding, and a sense of being grateful. That whatever the circumstance is, that we approach it from that vantage point. That I recognize that this situation could go either way, and I'm humble that it is a situation that I can contend with, and I'll figure it out. And that I want to take this circumstance and find a way for it to be upbuilding for myself as well as others. And last but not least, that I'm grateful that I've been given another day, which means I've been given another chance, and I can turn that chance into an opportunity. So again, I ask that you consider that when things come your way, that you hug them. Again, you hug the people and the places and the things that you experience. Secondly, there's a word that I've been working real hard to try to enter into the lexicon and the conversations of people, which is to positize. When I love typing this word because it comes up with red squiggly lines underneath it. And that's because the dictionary doesn't see it as a word. So we're going to work hard to get it into the dictionary by using it. And what I mean by positize is that it's the effort to see a person, place, or thing from a positive perspective. We tend to often look at situations in a negative way, in a very challenging way. But I think often the solution is in the perspective that we have, and finding a way to look at it in a positive way, and how it could be a blessing as opposed to a burden. So I think we need to spend some more time and efforts to positize our circumstances, and again, hopefully be in fellowship with other people who can help us positize our circumstances. So again, tonight, wanted to remind ourselves to hug the moments, circumstances, situations that we have, and along those same lines is to positize them. All right, so that's our winning strategies for today. We do have a guest that is here with us today, and her name is Ciera. And so I think I forgot, 1 second, please, that I'll post here that if you'd like to join in the conversation, you can do so by visiting this website. And I'm posting on the Facebook, Indeed, YouTube, and let's use this one, and Twitter. links. So you're able to call in if you'd like to join us and later during the show as a guest. Just hit on that link and you'll be able to join. So without further ado, we're going to add our first guest tonight, and her name is Ciera. So how are you, Madam Ciera?
I'm doing good.
Very good. Thanks for joining us this evening. You're a little bit off-centered of the camera.
I know, but this is the best I can do.
Okay. Well, maybe you move your body. Yeah, that's really what's off-centered. Is the camera's fine. There you go. There you go. Hey, that's fine. All right. I got in trouble. Someone that was going to be a guest on tonight's show, but they showed up in a bonnet, and that wasn't going to work. So I'm so glad we have Ciera here, who's not wearing a bonnet, and is going to join us this evening. So, Ciera, in a way that you feel comfortable, share with the world a little bit about who you are and what's going on in your life. And again, the title of this show is Attaining Your Personal Best. So talk with people about how you're doing that, but introduce yourself in a way that you feel comfortable.
Okay, so my name's Ciera, and I guess I'll start with the present. I'm a junior at the University of Pittsburgh at Bradford campus.
Wow.
I'm studying psychology with a minor in sociology.
Mm-hmm.
I plan on graduating in 2 years, and then after that, obtaining my master's in social work or psychology with an emphasis on behavioral neuroscience. I'm still deciding.
Hold on a second. A lot of us are not, that swift. So when you say behavioral neuroscience, what does that mean?
It's just studying the brain and how it works, like basically.
Okay.
In relation to like mental illnesses and stuff like that. That's the track I want to go on,
Okay.
take on it. But yeah, I'm a former foster child. I used to be in Dr. Williams' program, Child First, and I was there since I was 15. I graduated when I was 21 and proceeded to go to Kutztown University pre-med, but that didn't work out. I struggled with a lot of mental illnesses at a certain point in time, and that took me back a while. So, but I'm back on track, and I decided to go back to school to obtain, because my experiences with mental health, that's why I chose psychology major.
Mm.
So I'm living out my dream as of right now.
That's good. Congratulations. And you mentioned that this is something that the issue that you're studying is something that's close to home. Could that be seen in some ways as re-traumatizing yourself by working so closely in the field, or is it energizing you and giving you motivation by working with an issue that's so near and dear to your heart?
It's actually inspiring. It's definitely giving me motivation. My goal is to inspire healing through people who've been through the same thing or similar things that I've been through with my story. So that's what's giving me that motivation.
And what do you think the helping profession has to do better? As you look at your situation, the situation of others, if Ciera was running the show, how would the show look different? Like, what would you do differently if you were running it? Like, as you're going to get your master's and possibly your doctorate one day, and you're going to be turned to as an expert. And they're going to ask you for, like, hey, what is your contribution to the field? What are you going to add that doesn't exist there now? So what would you say?
I actually think that I want to open up my own nonprofit for mental health awareness and resources, and kind of like a prison, and start a new initiative for like a prison reform program. The one thing like that's not out there, that's that doesn't have a lot of resources in mental illnesses is the system, and particularly like the prison systems and like the um, delinquency centers and stuff like that. Because, and like I've mentioned before, I've experienced it. I've unfortunately went to jail for 9 months, and there I experienced a lot of trauma, because they weren't equipped to deal with people with mental health crises. And I just want to
Ciera,
start.
if you don't mind, let me ask you a question. How prevalent did you feel mental health was an issue for people that were incarcerated? Do you feel it was like a small population that had some issues? Medium part of it, 50%. Like, we had to gauge how many people you felt mental health was a challenge. What would you say the answer is?
I feel like it's around like 60%,
Mm.
like a little more than half. But um, from what I saw, at least in the women's side, there's a lot of drugs um, involved. So there's mental health drugs, and then there's the hardcore criminals, I guess to say.
So would you say drugs in the prison, or drugs that led them to being in prison?
Drugs that led them to being in prison.
Okay. Wow. Okay. And so your feeling is make it available to people.
Yeah.
And it's not something that's a specialty. It's more than half of the people seem to need it.
And my thing is training like the employees, like the COs and the guards, the counselors.
Mm-hmm.
There's no you don't get therapy in prison. Mm-hmm. You get a counselor, and that's more like social work. That's not actually therapeutic for prisoners. Mm-hmm. So starting something that introduces therapy and different techniques and different de-escalation skills mm-hmm. to that is my goal.
Mm-hmm. But today you find yourself, in college and pursuing, as you said, your dream. How did you turn things around?
It was kind of like a realization, like for me, I was never independent. So like when I messed up a great deal and was on my own and then got out of prison, like I kind of found myself just alone. I don't have much family. So it was kind of just like a epiphany I had that like I got to get it together, and that I don't want to be another stigma or statistic. Mm-hmm. So that's my determination.
Sure. And was there a certain event that just was a realization on a given day that I would?
There wasn't a certain event that led me out of my I'm going to call it a crisis, because I feel like it was. It just happened gradually. I knew eventually I wanted to go back to school. So I just planned, and that's what I did.
Good. So when do you expect to graduate? You said you're a junior now. Are you going into your junior year, or you're?
Yeah, I'm going into my junior year. I expect to graduate spring 2026.
Okay. And as I think you said, you want to then go on to graduate school.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where do you have that picked out yet as well?
I have 5 schools so far. One school is social work as a social work program, and the other schools are psychology masters with an emphasis on or concentration on neuroscience or behavioral neuroscience. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And you said you're torn between social work and psychology. What is it that you believe one is more appealing than the other, or?
I feel like social work is more hands-on.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of want to do some of the hands-on work, but really I want to like be in the back somewhere running the show. So like, and have the knowledge to like, because my end goal is research, is a doctorate with research. Mm-hmm. So a master's in psychology would get me there, me further.
But I would also encourage you. I have as you may know, I have a doctorate in social work, and that you could use to teach, or you could use it to be administrator, or you could use to do research. So, I mean, if you wanted to use social work as a pathway, you could, or you could, use psychology as a pathway. But I think, generally, I would say more administrators are social workers than psychologists, but you may be the psychologist who's an administrator. So, but I would, just encourage you to look at the options, and wherever, and I think you know this better than I do, that wherever you can find a welcoming place, and a place that embraces you, because I think that's the key. If you feel the embrace, there's no stopping you. And I think that's what's most important, is that you go to a place that understands Ciera and accepts her as a person. And I think that's where the thriving comes in. And there have been some people that have stayed the course with you. And I think of one, but I don't want to mention her name unless you want to mention her name. And I mean, there may be others, but I think that's an important piece, Ciera, is that you were on your own, but you weren't alone. And there's been people throughout, and sometimes, not consistent. Sometimes they're there. And but one of the things I found, and I don't know if you found the same thing, is that I expected one person to be there my entire lifetime. And I realized that maybe I'm too much to ask for that. But there was always someone there, and they seemed like they took shifts. They didn't know that they were taking shifts, right? But it seemed like whenever one fell off, there was a safety net that was there that I found. But what have you found, and has there been any people there that have been a safety net for you?
I want to say you.
Well, leaving me out.
Okay. There are some people that stayed with me from Child First. Miss Katia LaFortune and Miss Nancy McCullough.
Okay.
So
good. That's good. And how have you told them that you appreciate them? Do they know that?
I think they know that.
Well,
I hope they know that.
You think have you told them?
I told Miss Tia and Miss Nancy.
Not sure, huh?
He knows. Okay.
Well, why don't you say it now? Let's pretend they're watching. They're one of the 3 people watching this show tonight. What would you say? And separate them apart. What would you say to Miss Katia, and then what would you say to Miss Nancy?
For Miss Tia, I would say that thank you for not giving up on me, and I would definitely tell her that I appreciate her and that I love her like a great amount. And for Miss Nancy, I would say thank you again. Yeah. And I would say, I don't know. Miss Nancy's kind of complicated for me. I don't know. Because she knows. She already knows. So it's like talking to Miss Nancy. She says it for me.
Okay. Good. But you appreciate her. So that's
I do. I appreciate Miss Nancy.
Good. And I think they would say as well, Ciera, that we appreciate you. It isn't easy loving Ciera, but it is fun. You do take us for a roller coaster ride, so nothing is going to be the same, and every year is going to be a little different. But again, I think watching you grow and mature, and you keep trying, and I think that's something everybody appreciates about you. You've gone through some tough stuff, but you're a survivor. And more importantly, you're working real hard to be a thriver. And people admire that about you. And I think that's why they stay the course with you, even though you drive people a little batty. But it's an interesting ride.
Yeah.
So I understand you have a new car you got the other day, and so I'm glad to hear that, and I hope you enjoy it and use it wisely. I think this is at least connected to us. Is this like the second or third car? Yeah. So I think
second.
Okay. You're at. There is no third time. So just so you understand, this is it. So enjoy it, and hopefully it won't fall apart as you're driving. So some of the comments, Selena, Mac, I don't know if you remember her. She's our nurse now, but she was a residential director back probably in your time. Gave you a round of applause. Cheryl McLeod says, congrats on your new ride, and she'll probably be hitting you up for a ride. So be careful if you see her name pop up on your caller ID. And again, Selena says, proud of you. And Miss Neitza says that you can do anything you want to do. So again, Ciera, we're all rooting for you. We want the best because we know you are the best. So keep going and stay in touch with people. Remember, you're on your own, but you're not alone. You're one conversation away from fixing whatever the problem is. So stay the course. All right?
Okay.
All right. We'll have you back. Promise. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. So that's Miss Ciera. So good to hear when people are have gone through challenges, but are still doing exactly what we said earlier. They're still working hard to hug life. And I think you see a sense of humility, and she's attempting to be upbuilding and grateful. And she's trying to positize some very challenging situations that she's endured. So again, I think she's the epitome of our winning strategies for the day. So we'll wrap up for today. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We'll be back next Monday, same time. And until then, please be well.